Hi, friends. It's like 1 in the morning. Yeah, so I just came home like an hour ago and I started to, get unready. And then I was like, you know what? I look cute today. Let me film a video. Um, so here we are. It's 1 in the morning. I'm sitting in my room, very much overdressed, but like I look cute, so why not? So what I wanted to do basically was I wanted to talk about the books that I've read in May. Um and yeah, let's get right into it, I would say. Okay, so I read or finished 5 books in May. The first one is The Dragon Republic. No, sorry. The Burning God. So the last book. The last book of the Poppy War trilogy. And I don't know if I'm gonna make a separate video about this. I also may not. But from what I've read from R.F. Kuang up until now, I really enjoyed her books. Um, like I like them. Babel is one of my favorites. It's up here on my shelf. I don't know if you can see it, which is my favorite shelf. If you watched my bookshelf tour, and yeah, I was disappointed by the Poppy War trilogy, to say the least. Um, I know that many people love the trilogy so much, and I've seen so much content about it while I was reading it. If I look down, it's because my iPad's here and I'm just, So yeah. Um, I've seen so many people being so sympathetic towards the characters and stuff, and I was just like, dude, they're all annoying. Like, I get it. It's war. Those are teenagers. They were thrust into this war without knowing anything. They were like thrown into it, thinking that it depended on them to end the war. I get that, but like, I had such a difficult time reading it, and I was worried for a second that I am the problem, because like, I don't know, I can't read books where I don't agree with the protagonist or something, but like, just like right after the trilogy, I read 2 books, one where the protagonist is supposed to be liked, and I found her kind of okay. And the second one was Yesteryear, which literally has one of the worst main characters. So unlikable main character, and I loved that book. Like, so the problem is not me, but like, I really hated everything about the books. The first book I actually still pretty liked. It felt kind of thrilling. It was exciting. It was new. You rooted for the character, and you were able to understand the way she is. But in my opinion, that got lost like a lot in the next 2 books, because I feel like it's not something that you can excuse anymore, And I kind of get, okay, that's the point, but like, I don't know, I just had a bad time reading the books. I couldn't. As I said, the first book was pretty fine. I gave it, I think, 3 stars or 3.5 stars, something like that. The second book made me want to quit reading. I think I have talked about this on this channel before, but like, the second book was so like bad when it comes to the reading experience for me. I literally wanted to quit reading altogether. Like, I couldn't bring myself to pick up any book at this point, and I was not feeling it, you guys. I was not feeling it. The third book, picked up on that, I have to say. I was able to continue reading and everything, and there was literally only one character that I cared about, and it was Kitai, a side character, the best friend of our main character, and I have to say I shed a tear or two at the very end of book 3. And it kind of brought everything together, and I was like, "Okay, I get your point," and I kind of it was a perfect ending for this series, and I was not mad about it, like, about the ending, and I know that I was like, "Okay," I really felt like it brought everything together, and I was able to see it from a better perspective than I was reading throughout. Um, but I still, like, cannot get over the second book, um, how bad it was. So I would not be reading I will definitely not be reading that again. Not one of my favorites. I totally like, I did not want to talk about that series at all after I finished it, so this is probably the only time I'm gonna talk about it ever again. I already forgot about it, um, up until I saw that I finished the book last month. So, yeah, do with that information what you will. I did not like that. So the second book I finished in May was a German, like, kind of not dark romance. It's not dark romance. It's suspense, romance, thriller, murder, mystery, romance, something like that. It kind of felt dark romance, but it wasn't. So basically we follow our oh, maybe I should tell you the book title. It's called Bad Vibes by Bianca Iosivoni, I think. I'm gonna put the 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 cover page here. I read it on my Kindle because it was my book club's pick for May. I have to say it was my first, like, suspense, murder, mystery, romance, and, um, how can I put this? It was like a Wattpad book. Like, if this were a published story on Wattpad and I would have read this in 2016, 2017, 18, on a summer night at 4 a.m. on a, like, school day, school evening, school night, whatever, I would have ate it up. Like, I ate the book up. Not gonna lie, it was intriguing. I finished it pretty early on, like, pretty quickly, and I was, like, intrigued to continue. Do you say it like that? Like, I wanted to continue reading the book. And yeah, but it felt really cliche and Wattpad-y. So if it were a Wattpad book, I would be like, perfect. 10 out of 10, chef's kiss. But it's not. It's not a Wattpad fanfiction whatsoever. So yeah, it felt kind of cliche, as I said. The characters weren't as like so lovable. The main character, considering her, like, story, her backstory, wasn't paranoid enough, in my opinion. And I don't know, the spicy scenes. It was a really spicy book, which I have to say I'm not really much of a smut reader. I don't like that. I'm not much of a smut reader. I don't like that very much, but, like, I don't mind if it's in a book and if it has a point, like, if it, like, belongs in there, you know? I don't like smutty scenes out of nowhere just because. And that was the case with this one. The spicy scenes, listen, one or two of them I get. Um, but everything else, like every other spice scene, was so not only unnecessary, but the timing was so bad. Like, it was so badly placed throughout the novel that it was kind of like getting a whiplash. Um, because there is one point in the story, and this is a spoiler, so you can skip the next few minutes or the next few seconds. Um, there is a point in the book where our main character and her two love interests, it's a love triangle, um, have, like, a threesome going on, and they hear screaming outside before it comes to a, like, very spicy point. And they hear people running and screaming in the hallway, and they are like, "Oh, let's get out of here. Let's see what's going on." And that's the end of the chapter. No, wait. They get out of the room. They discover that some girl, the cousin of one of the love interests, threw herself off a tower and is dead now, obviously. That's how the chapter ends. Literally, the next chapter is the love interest whose cousin just died writing to our main character, yeah, girl, let's meet later here and here. Let's finish what we started yesterday. And I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, 1 second there is a death, and the next second they're having sexy time. And then there's a death again, and then they're having a makeout session again. Like, what is going on? What are we doing here? I have to say though, the story itself, the murder mystery aspect, was really good. Like, I was hooked and curious and intrigued from start to end. And as I said, I finished it pretty quickly. But the spicy scenes, as I said, the poor placement just made it just made the experience a little less good than it could have been, or would have been. And yeah, that's basically it. Ooh, so then I have Yesteryear. Um, it's by Caro Claire Burke, and it was just released. It's a pretty new book, and it's about a Treadwife influencer going insane. I mean, she was pretty much unraveled in the beginning, but you follow her unraveling more. And this was a buddy read with a friend, and it was the perfect book to buddy read. It's one of my new favorites, I have to say. I enjoyed this book so much. It's one of my new favorites. This is the ultimate like unraveling female rage unraveling book ever. Um because our main character is literally crazy. She's literally insane. Um but yeah. So Yesteryear is, as I said, about a Treadwife influencer, and we follow her throughout her life. And basically, she wakes up one day in another century. Like, she's thrown back in time, and we follow her as she navigates this new life where there's her family, but they're not really her family because they seem a little different, and everything's just changed. Everything's just, traditional. There's nothing modern in there. And so we follow her, as I said, trying to navigate whatever is going on while also, getting her backstory from the start. And it kind of leads in the novel. We get one chapter in her past and one chapter in wherever she is now. Um, and it kind of builds up to a point where the timelines meet. So yeah, it was a really good book, I have to say. It was really intriguing, it was really interesting, and it was crazy to see how, despite our main character being so insane and unlikable, like, she was a despisable human, not gonna lie. But like, it's so interesting that how you can still sympathize with her at some points in the book, because she had kind of a really shitty life. Um, Even though she was a shitty person herself, and one might argue that she deserved it, and I don't know, but like, there were really points in the story where my friend and I were like, bro, that's kind of sad. So it was really well written. I would even argue that this was one of the best written characters I've read about. Um, and yeah, because she was so complex, all the characters were so complex. Nothing fell flat. The story was interesting. I think the way it was written was also really nice, because we got enough of both worlds, of both timelines, to get through the story without being too confused. And the plot, the twists, girl, this book had my jaw on the floor. Ooh, the next one is also interesting. Then I finished Almond by Won Byung-sun. I had that book lying on my shelf for years at this point, and I think I pulled it from my Read It or Yeet It box, but I didn't film it because I was kind of in a rush and I needed a book to fit in my bag. I'm so glad I did because I don't know if I would have ever read the book if not for this challenge or me trying to get through my physical TBR. But like it was so good. Like yesteryear and this one were a were new 5-star reads for me because it was just so well written. I loved everything about Almond, and I like the characters. I like the writing style a lot, and I also loved that the chapters were so like short because you could literally finish a chapter in like less than a minute because sometimes a chapter was 1 page, not even. Um, but like it was a really good book, and yeah, you might argue that the ending was kind of a quick resolve or something, but I really loved that the ending um put everything together. So yeah, I really enjoyed that book. Last book of May was Caraval by Stephanie Garber, which I also wanted to read for a long time. See, the thing is with Caraval, I never really wanted to read the Caraval trilogy, but I wanted to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. So yeah, but I heard a lot of times that you should read Caraval before you read Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I also have a few friends that were like, "Girl, Caraval is literally one of my favorite series, and I find it even better than Once Upon a Broken Heart, so you have to read Caraval as well." And yeah, they got through to me. I started the audiobook, but I couldn't get into it, so I, had it on my Kindle and started reading it there. Um, but then I kind of pushed myself to keep reading because I wanted to, get through the books that I was currently reading because it were many books. I was reading like 7 books at the time, and I was on a mission to finish each one. And Caraval had been the last, or the not the last, the second to last book to finish. So yeah, I kind of pushed myself through it, and I'm glad I did because I really did like it in the end. I forgot how much of a rating I gave it. Wait, let me look. I think 3.5. Yes, it was 3.5 stars, which I have not reviewed yet on Fable. So Caraval was like 3.5. It was a solid book, I would say, and I probably will continue the series, but not in foreseeable future, I think. Um, because I am trying to as I said, get through my physical TBR, and I want to read the books that I have here first. And since I'm guessing that book 2 is about a character that I did not like very much in the first book, I'm not as, rushed to get to the second book as I would have been if I liked the character. But yeah, that was Caraval. So, that was it. I read 5 or finished 5 books in May. I would say it was a pretty interesting reading month. I read a lot of new genres and I found a lot of new favorites. So, I would say it was a pretty good and interesting month. As of right now, I am rereading The Cruel Prince, which I have this beautiful copy, which I still need to make a video about, but I'm gonna make it tomorrow because I'm pretty um tired. It's like almost 2 in the morning, or at night, whatever. But like yeah, I'm rereading The Cruel Prince, and I'm almost finished. I'm like at I think 80 something percent into the book. Well, we can also talk about my June hopefuls while we are at it. So my June hopefuls obviously will be the second and third book. And after that, or maybe while reading the trilogy. Okay, so I did not realize that my microphone battery was low, so the quality is a little bit worse than it was before. So I'm sorry. And I think in just a few minutes or seconds, the microphone even shuts off. Um, I'm gonna see, like, we are gonna see together how I'm gonna edit that. If I'm just gonna voice over or if I have to retake it. But just so you know, my microphone was on low battery, so yeah, the quality is pretty, yeah, suffering up, yeah, from this point on. Because those are rereads, as I said. I will try to finish All the Lights We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr because I have not continued this book for 7 years, I think, at this point. Wait, what am I talking about? Wait. 6 years, sorry. It's been, no, not even 5 years. It's been 5 years, guys. I have not continued this book for 5 years. I got this as a gift when I turned 18 and I started it. I really loved the writing, the story. I really liked this book up until the point where I read it. But since this is a very tragic and sad story, I was not like mentally ready to read this. So I put it off for a long time and I kind of forgot about it. And yeah, this is the last book I still need to finish um before I can continue reading anything else. And yeah, so this will be another June hopeful. Okay, so I had to change the mic real quick. I hope because my other one died. What was I saying? Um right, depending on how well I can get through this and the Folk of Air, I want to finally start Little Women. So yeah, there's that. I think that's it for now, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, this has been a little more chill. And I know I haven't been posting for a month at this point. I'm sorry. Like, life gets busy and I didn't really know what to talk about, so here we are. Um, but yeah, I hope you still enjoyed nonetheless, and I'll see you guys in another one. Bye!